For the price of the first machine on this list, you could walk into a dealership today and buy 3 brand new Lamborghini Revueltos. You could buy a 4-bedroom house in Austin, Texas, cash. You could retire. Instead, the wealthiest collectors in the world are fighting each other to spend that money on this. A rusty, oil-leaking, terrifyingly dangerous assemblage of steel and leather that has less horsepower than your lawnmower. This isn't just a list of expensive toys. This is a forensic investigation into asset insanity. We're looking at 5 motorcycles where logic has completely left the building. These buyers aren't paying for performance. They are paying for the privilege of survival. They are buying the specific mechanical flaws that killed the original owners. If you think a $100,000 truck is overpriced, you are not ready for the financial violence I am about to show you. Number 5. The Vincent Black Lightning, $929,000. The structural suicide. In 1948, this was the fastest thing on Earth, but that speed came with a hidden engineering cost that today is worth nearly $1 million. The Vincent Black Lightning is a masterclass in what we call the stress member doctrine. When Phil Irving designed this bike, he looked at a standard steel frame and decided it was dead weight. So, he threw it away. He bolted the front suspension directly to the cylinder head. The engine block is the chassis. The handlebars are effectively bolted to the combustion chamber. This makes the bike incredibly light and rigid. But forensically, it creates a vibration nightmare. Every explosion inside that cylinder, every shock from the road, is transferred directly into the skeleton of the machine. There is no dampening. There is no separation. When a collector drops $929,000 on this bike, they aren't paying for the black paint or the gold leaf tank logo. They are paying for the terror of riding a machine that feels like it, that's trying to shake itself apart at 150 miles per hour. It's the most expensive jackhammer in history. Number 4. The Crocker Big Tank, $700,000, $850,000. If you are an American hot rodder, this is your holy grail. And it costs as much as a penthouse in Miami. The Crocker Big Tank is the result of one man, Al Crocker, deciding to commit financial suicide in the middle of the Great Depression. While Harley-Davidson and Indian were cutting costs to survive, Crocker decided to build an overhead valve monster. He refused to use iron. He cast the fuel tanks out of aluminum. He built hemispherical combustion chambers decades before Dodge put Hemi on a billboard. He engineered a transmission that could withstand torque loads that would snap a Harley in half. And that is exactly why the company failed. He overbuilt every single bolt. He lost money on every bike he sold. When you see a Crocker sell for $800,000 at auction, you are witnessing the martyrdom premium. You are paying for the fact that Al Crocker cared more about beating Indian at a stoplight than he cared about staying in business. Number 3. The 1915 Cyclone Board Track Racer, $852,500. This machine right here is the reason we have safety regulations. And believe it or not, people are paying nearly $1 million to own the very thing that likely killed its original rider. This is a 1915 Cyclone, and it was built for one thing: board track racing. Imagine oval tracks made of wood, banked at a crazy 45-degree angle. Riders would hit over 100 miles per hour with absolutely zero protection. Mechanically, this engine was basically alien technology for its time. It used something called bevel-driven overhead cams, with shafts spinning at thousands of RPM to drive the valves. This beast made 45 horsepower, more than double what a Ford Model T produced back then. But here's the fatal flaw that makes it so valuable today. It has no brakes, and I don't mean bad brakes. I mean zero. None. On top of that, it has no throttle return spring. So, if you let go of the handlebars, the bike just stays at wide open throttle. It was a missile designed to hit 111 miles per hour on a wooden track, with the only ways to stop being to crash or run out of gas. So when someone pays $850,000 for this, they're essentially buying a Bevel-Gear Guillotine. The 1908 Harley-Davidson strap tank, $935,000. Look at this thing. It looks like something you'd find rusting in a barn in Wisconsin. It is essentially a bicycle with a sewing machine clamped to the frame. And yet, it sold for $935,000. This is the genesis point. The strap tank is named after the nickel-plated steel bands that hold the oil and fuel tanks to the frame. It is crude. It is primitive. It uses a leather belt to drive the rear wheel, a belt that would slip if it got wet, meaning you couldn't ride in the rain. It relied on atmospheric intake valves. That means there was no cam to open the intake valve. It just flopped open when the piston sucked air. It is objectively a terrible piece of engineering by modern standards. So why is it worth a house in the Hamptons? Because of survival bias. These bikes were workhorses. They were ridden until they died, then melted down for scrap metal during 2 world wars. Finding one that still exists is statistically impossible. You aren't paying for the leather belt. You are paying for the DNA of the entire Harley-Davidson empire. $1 million bicycle number 1, the AJSE90 Porcupine, $7 million estimated. We have reached the singularity, the AJ's Porcupine. Only 4 were ever built. Only 1 is in private hands. Experts estimate that if this bike went to auction today, it would clear $7 million. That is the GDP of a small island nation. For a motorcycle. Why? Because it is a design anomaly. It was built during World War II to be supercharged. But when the rules changed and banned blowers, the engineers panicked. They had to make it work naturally aspirated.
It complicates
Their
the airflow
solution
too much.
was radically
We'll have to
young.
rely on the design itself.
They laid the cylinders almost flat horizontal. This lowered the center of gravity and exposed the cylinder heads to massive airflow. The cooling fins on the head were so spiked and aggressive they looked like quills. Hence, the Porcupine. It won the very first 500cc World Championship in 1949, and then the project was scrapped. It vanished. This is the white whale of the automotive world. It represents the impossible artifact, a Grand Prix winner that shouldn't exist. When you buy this, you aren't buying a vehicle. You are buying a ghost story that runs on gasoline. So, what have we learned? We learned that value has nothing to do with utility. A Honda Civic is a better vehicle than any machine on this list. It starts, it stops. It doesn't kill you, but nobody collects Honda Civics. These 5 motorcycles are worth more than a house because they represent the edge of sanity. They represent the moments where engineers ignored the accountants, ignored safety, and ignored physics to build something faster than they had any right to build. Billionaires don't buy these bikes to ride them. They buy them to own a piece of the danger that they are too afraid to experience themselves. End of investigation.